Most of the time, a sexy voice is more likely to get someone's attention than their looks alone. Some people with a lot of experience say things that hit you right in the heart, whether because of the way they sound when they sing or because of what their accent says about their culture. Now, in this video, we're going to rank some of the sexiest accents that send shivers down your spine. First off, at number 14, we have the Spanish accent. Is it really surprising that Spanish is among the world's sexiest accents? The Spanish accent comes with the fiery passion, romance, and flamenco dancing that Latin people are known for. According to scientists, this attraction is because of the way the tongue moves when pronouncing words. The shorter consonants and longer vowels of the Spanish language make it flow better than Slavic and Germanic languages. This might just be the reason why this accent is ranked among the sexiest in the world. On top of that, cultural stereotypes play a big role. The stereotypes of the macho Casanova and the passionate women in telenovelas have spread outside of Spanish-speaking countries to other parts of the world. After all, who can resist a good telenovela? At number 13, we have the Czech accent. The Czech accent definitely has the upper hand as compared to the Hungarian accent. Even though it's not in the top 10, a recent poll showed that it has a certain sexiness to it. When someone speaks in a Czech accent, it gives a beautiful rhythmic sound and feel, which is also a little like the Ukrainian accent. If you've ever heard a Czech song, then you'll know what we mean for sure. At number 12, we have the Brazilian Portuguese accent. Another popular accent is the Brazilian Portuguese accent. This is different from the Portuguese spoken in Portugal. Brazilian Portuguese sounds like a song and will keep you mesmerized for hours. Brazilians tend to talk in a way that sounds almost musical, which seems to be a trait of romantic languages in general, with the occasional discordant note, usually when they have trouble pronouncing the hard Germanic sounds. The deeper male voice often sounds like someone is reciting poetry, while the higher female voice almost sounds like someone is singing instead of talking. Coming up at number 11, we have the Nigerian accent. People thought that the Nigerian accent was one of the sexiest in the world. The deep, rich sounds of Naija bend the English language without breaking it, causing tremors in places that other languages can't reach. Even though Nigeria got rid of the British in 1960, this charming accent still has traces of the royal language. You'll want to hear more because of how smooth and soft it is. At number 10, we have the Texan accent. We already knew that the Southern accent is one of the sexiest in the world, but now Texans have another reason to be proud. Theirs is the sexiest accent in the United States. America has a lot of different accents from one state to the next, of which Texans might be the most popular. When we think of Texas, we immediately think of the Wild West, where fried chicken is served with grits and men ride horses and look like Matthew McConaughey, who we can all agree is fine. 1.5 million people on social media were asked in a recent poll to find out which state accent was the sexiest in America, and Texas had the highest votes. Who can say no to a slow Texan accent? A typical Texan accent is kind of like a Southern with a twist, with strong R sounds and a lot of howdies. Now, at number 9, we have the French accent. When it comes to sexy languages, French is probably the first one that comes to mind. After all, it's called the language of love for a reason. Shows like Emily in Paris, The Bureau, and The Hookup Plan have made us fall in love with French accents even more, so it's not surprising that we find it so attractive. It's interesting that the charm of a French accent doesn't just come from the language. When they speak English, we find the French sound more attractive when they speak French. Some of the things about how a French accent is spoken could be what makes it so seductive. When French people say certain sounds, they round their lips a lot, which makes us think of kissing. Studies have also shown that people find husky and breathy voices more attractive. The French accent mimics those tones in words like rouge, which forces the speaker to use a deeper tone and pout their lips. At number 8, we have the Scottish accent. People say that the Scottish accent is attractive because of its charm. People like the accent because of the way the R's roll, the lower pitch used to make the right sound, and the way it sounds in general. People find it hard to understand because it's one of the strongest accents. A weaker twang is preferred. Men with a Scottish accent might have one of the sexiest accents in the world, but women don't like it as much. This could be because the accent doesn't give them a sensual feel. Next up at number 7, we have the Australian accent. The Australian accent is attractive for a number of reasons, and like most accents, we've heard it on screen through various media. When we think of the Australian accent, we think of their active outdoor culture as well as their hot weather, which makes people tanned and fit. And what's not to like about that? Unlike some of the other accents on this list, the Australian accent is thought to look good on both men and women. This is one of the languages that's attractive for both genders, making it even more popular than others. With actors like Chris Hemsworth, Hugh Jackman, and Nicole Kidman, it's safe to say that we're all guilty of drooling due to the attractive appeal of this accent. At number 6, we have the Kiwi accent. Now, this must be a pretty uncommon one for you, but surprisingly, this accent tops the list as one of the most sought after in the world. So what makes this Kiwi accent so sexy? Since news Zealand is a small country with only 5 million people, the Kiwi accent is pretty rare. But the exotic part isn't the only reason. The New Zealand and Australian accent are actually pretty different from other dialects around the world because of how their vowels are pronounced. For example, the short I turns into a U and the short A turns into an E. This changes the way many words are pronounced as compared to a normal English accent. This exotic and different accent is definitely popular among millennials. Many New Zealand actors must have also caught your eyes, such as Sam Neill and Martin Henderson. At number 5, we have the South African accent. The Afrikaans accent from South Africa is one of the most attractive and interesting accents in the world. It has unique tones and slang that are very different from all other accents that we've looked at so far. What's fascinating to note is that this accent has some from a mix of different cultures. This might be one reason why people find it so attractive. There are many people who have migrated there, and each brings their own dialect with them. This makes the accent pretty varied as well. Most people think this gives off feelings of happiness, which add to its popularity. Moving on, at number 4, we have the Italian accent. One of the reasons why we love the Italian accent is that pop culture often shows Italian Americans in a romantic way. Everything from great food and music to art and high-end fashion is influenced by Italy. Like Spanish and French, Italian comes from Latin, and all three of those languages have some of the sexiest accents in the world. You've probably heard of Donatella Versace, a well-known fashion designer. Her Italian accent is pretty hard to miss. There are other Italian stars, such as Monica Bellucci and Sophia Loren. After all, how can we resist the charm of the rhythmic, soft, and attractive style of the Italian accent that guarantees sex appeal? It's also thought to be one of the easiest to understand for people who don't speak Italian. At number 3, we have the Irish accent. Irish actors like Colin Farrell and Saoirse Ronan are amazing examples of how sexy the accent is. Another possible explanation for why the Irish accent might be so attractive is that it sounds soft and lyrical. It's also among the most stylish and intriguing accents of the world. At number 2, we have the British accent. The British accent is another accent that's popular among both men and women. Not only was it ranked as one of the sexiest accents, but it was also among the top trustworthy accents. This accent makes people sound way smarter, so that's an added bonus. It's important to keep in mind that the UK has some of the most different accents of any English-speaking country. There are both old and new accents like Cockney, Scouse, and the Queen's English. If you want to hear someone with a Cockney accent, you can take a look at Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins or Michael Caine in Alfie. Scouse is a popular language in Liverpool, which is where the Beatles grew up. Brian Johnson used to be in a band called Geordie, which is both the name of a place in Northeast England and the name of the language spoken there. Finally, at number 1, we have the Canadian accent. Now, at number 1, we have a pretty surprising entry. Yeah, it's the Canadian accent. Did you know that a recent study of the sexiest accents in the world found that men find the Canadian accent to be one of the most attractive? Even though the Canadian accent might not be the most sensual one, it was pretty high up on the sexy list. 83% of people who took the poll said that someone having a Canadian accent alone has made them appear more attractive. If you thought this language wasn't that popular, then boy were you wrong. And we have proof too. Actors such as Ryan Gosling, Ryan Reynolds, and Stephen Amell have won the hearts of people worldwide. Canadian people might just find themselves being widely popular this year. That's all for this video. Which accent do you find the sexiest? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content in the future. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.